You're watching Tennessee Titans Today. I am Tom Downey. A loaded show on tap for you today. We're going to break down the Adrian Colbert signing, the idea of trading for Roquan Smith. We'll set the record straight on Treylon Burks' fake news, looking at you, ESPN and NBC Sports. And we'll look at where the left guard battle stands. One clear frontrunner early on in Titans camp. But first, the news. Adrian Colbert is now a member of the organization. He has signed with Tennessee per his agent, broken by Aaron Wilson of Pro Football Network. Colbert is a journeyman safety. He does have some starting experience, mostly from his beginning of his career with the 49ers. He offers depth, backup positioning options from that standpoint. Now, the move has not been formally announced, and there will need to be another roster move made to clear and make room for Adrian Colbert, which I think could come out in a matter of minutes, depending on when this video exactly gets out. Hell, maybe even before so. It's a matter of processing there. Someone's got to get cut, waived, or put on IR, so we'll wait and see what happens there. Maybe a defensive back, maybe not. We'll see. Colbert is probably not going to make the 53-man roster. Kevin Byard, Amani Hooker, Theo Jackson, A.J. Moore are your front runners there at the 4 safety spots. But Colbert, if he had to, could play because he has played. 109 career tackles, 1 TFL as a journeyman. I'm going to play here, then I'm going to play here, then I'm going to play here, bouncing around his time in the NFL. This is depth. This is preseason body with Amani Hooker still a bit banged up right now. Some overall thinness in the secondary. Adding another corner, or another safety, did make sense for Tennessee. It's also not indicative of concerns about any of the previous guys on the roster. It's depth. Teams shuffle the back end of the roster all the time. Here's been Colbert's career, 2017 and 18, coming out of Texas. He is a Texas legend there, producer Coop. 49ers, then to the Dolphins, then the Giants, then the Cleveland Browns. Also spent some time, by the way, with the New York Jets in the 2021 campaign. So 5 different stops so far in Colbert's NFL career. Make it 6 now that we include the Tennessee Titans. So grade the signing for me. If you don't know who it is, remember, it's a camp signing. It shouldn't be a low grade at all. We'll make this the pinned comments on today's video. So if the ad break happens to come here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, type in A, B, C, D, or F. Grade the signing of Adrian Colbert. I'm going to go with a B+. I don't want to give it an A because he's probably not going to make the roster, but I will not go low either. This is a depth back into the roster signing, i.e., it's never bad. You're not paying him a bunch of money. You're not making him a key part of your organization, your roster, whatever. It's depth. It's valuable depth. It's proven depth. All of those things, I think, add up to it being at least a smart signing in the end by Tennessee. Let's talk Roquan Smith trade now here on Tennessee Titans Today. The big NFL story of the day, Smith has requested a trade out of Chicago because contract negotiations have not gone well at all. It's been pretty bad from that standpoint in terms of Roquan Smith and the Bears. They've been lowballing him, allegedly. Now, let's explore Tennessee's potential interest there. They were linked heavily, more from speculative media reports, to linebackers, off-ball ones, in the offseason. And Roquan Smith would be the best linebacker this team's had in a very long time. His production has been awesome, especially over the last 2 years. 163 tackles, 12 TFLs, 3 sacks last year on a not very good Bears team. 139-18 in 2020. There is a reason why Roquan Smith wants to be among the highest paid linebackers in the NFL. He's worth it. Now, you're talking about probably a 5-year, $100 million deal, somewhere in that range, in order to afford and give Roquan Smith the deal that he wants. He's going to get more than Darius Leonard, more than Fred Warner. They're all in that same tier of elite young linebackers, off-ball ones at that. And you know what that means, right? Means the next one gets paid the most. Now, does Tennessee need a linebacker? Interesting conversation there. Zach Cunningham was among the highest paid linebackers. He's kind of restructured his deal a little bit, but I wanted to include him on that previous graphic. He's in Tennessee. David Long is, I think, a promising young player. I want to believe in Monty Rice. He's on the PUP list right now. Adding Roquan Smith would make this Titans defense better. In fact, Geez, you had Roquan Smith, Jeffrey Simmons, that talented young secondary. I don't know if there's a better defense, at least a young better defense, in the entire NFL. But it would be expensive. You're talking a second-round pick if you're lucky, I think, to acquire Roquan Smith from the Bears. They say they want to keep him. I could see them asking for a first or even a second and more to get that deal done. So with all that in mind, talented player, but expensive. Do you want to trade for Roquan Smith? Sound off for me in the comments section. Simply type in Y for yes or N for no. I'm going to begin my answer with this. Roquan Smith is a great player. He'd be an awesome addition. I would love to have him in a bubble in Tennessee. But from a practical standpoint, it's too expensive. This is the team that wouldn't pay A.J. Brown big money at wide receiver. They want, and I think need to, make sure they pay Jeffrey Simmons. I think the money that could potentially go to Roquan Smith is kind of earmarked for Simmons. Yeah, you can make it work if you want to. You can always afford one more guy on your roster to a certain point, but I don't think that's how Tennessee wants to operate right now. The timing isn't quite right. Maybe if he hits free agency in a year or 2 years, it could actually make more sense at that point. But right now, premium pick and a premium contract, talking $100 million over 5 years, potentially, I think that's too costly, too much right now for Tennessee. Now, what's not too costly is this awesome t-shirt combo pack. Get yours today at chatsports.com/Titans combo. We'll put that link in both the comment section and in the description of today's show. That way, if you're looking for some more Titans gear, if you're looking to get a fantastic offer, 2 shirts basically for the price of one, it's on sale under $30. Get yours today. chatsports.com/Titans combo. You might have been following NBC Sports for their fantasy coverage or ESPN for their fantasy coverage. Well, maybe you saw the headlines from Treylon Burks. How, he's a disaster. More busts, freak out over Burks. NBC Sports and ESPN claim Burks was working as a backup and he's lining up wrong. He doesn't know the playbook, blah, blah, blah. It's not what really is going on here. NBC Sports took a tweet out of context, assumed a lot of things that should not have been assumed, and, well, you know what happens when you assume, right? Let's break down what's happened here. First, the quote, what NBC Sports wrote for their formerly Roto World, now NBC Sports Edge write-up. Burks got off to a bumpy start in his first NFL offseason, battling conditioning issues in the spring, and now lining up wrong and not running his routes. He's been repping with Logan Woodside and Malik Willis's units, while Robert Woods, Nick Westbrook-Akina, and fellow rookie slot man Kyle Phillips have mainly been repping with Tannehill's group. Burks is supposed to be the Titans' replacement for A.J. Brown, but he's got a long way to go. Of course, things can change quickly, and Burks' talent can vault him up the depth chart fast. He's not looking like a player worthy of much more than a late-round fantasy flyer at this moment. That was what NBC Sports claimed. Here's where they got this from. My boy Mike Herndon. Treylon Burks is huge and does a good job of using that size to his advantage. Blah, blah, blah. Praise for Burks. Meant to add Burks. He's still working through some rookie learning curve himself. Was lined up wrong and to be corrected by Woodside during one team period. Had another rep where Rob Moore got on him for not running through the route. That did happen. The issue is that was then taken to, he's doing it all the time. And Mike later clarified because it's not what he really reported at all. As the writer of this tweet is based on, I feel the need to clarify. Burks also worked with Tannehill. He lined up wrong once. Did not run the wrong route, just didn't run through the route like the coach wanted. He's largely been good, sometimes very good, in camp. Now, NBC Sports has not redacted that, despite getting called out repeatedly, and even in their follow-up tweets from the author himself, he was like, well, yeah, I just made the assumptions to go to the next stuff. Come on, guys, be better here. What's your confidence level in Treylon Burks? Do not let that NBC Sports lies and ESPN deception fool you otherwise. Whatever your number was before those tweets came out should be the exact same. So scale it for me, 1 to 100. To be clear, I think Burks has had a great camp. He's been impactful, and he has gotten reps with the ones, by the way. NBC Sports simply messed up. This happens at least a couple times per year from NBC Sports. It's the aggregation gone wrong. They read something the wrong way, spin it up as a headline, get a bunch of clicks, but it's actually deceptive and it's fake news, to be blunt. Do not be worried about Treylon Burks. Things are going just fine for him. It was a rough minicamp. OTAs has not been the case so far at training camp. Our goal is to get to 5,000 subscribers before week 1. Unlike the failing ESPN, we tell you guys how it is and don't sugarcoat and lie to you. We'll give you the honest truth in the end. So if you want that, if you want good Titans coverage, hit that big red button and subscribe right now. Speaking of camp coverage, Aaron Brewer appears very much in line to be the starter at left guard. He's the one getting first-team reps over Jamarco Jones, unlike, say, Dylan Radins and Nicholas Petit-Frere splitting time at right tackle. So after missing some of OTAs in minicamp, it seems like this is Aaron Brewer's job to lose at left guard via injury or bad play or whatever. Jamarco Jones, which I think is his best spot anyway, would be your super sub offensive lineman who can play pretty much every spot on the offensive line except for center. Now, their career stats have not been that great. Brewer's been a better run blocker than Jones has been, who came over from Seattle this offseason, but a lot of sacks allowed, similar sack numbers, I am a little bit worried about the offensive line. Left guard, right tackle. We'll know more as the preseason moves on, but it's just not quite as settled as you'd like it to be. Now, this month we are doing, and this week too, we're doing a Titans versus Ravens sub battle. We're beating that lowly Ravens channel, 21 against 9. Suck it, Tyler. So if you want more free Titans videos, hit that big red button. Don't let us lose to the Ravens. Let's show Baltimore who the true kings of the AFC are.